Every year, Jimmy Stein and I like to have an annual tradition or yearly custom, either way you want to say it. I stole that from The Simpsons. To have a draft of the All-Saban team. He's going to draft a team. I'm going to draft a team. And then we're going to let you, our valued listeners, decide who would actually win the game.
Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. And Jimmy, we are going to do our annual or moderately annual Nick Saban, All-Saban team while at Alabama. We're going to draft only offense today. This is something new we're going to do. We did this a few years ago, and it was a lot of fun. But it was interesting because a few years ago, we didn't have the same quarterback choices. You went number one and you took Tua Tagovailoa, and that sort of like threw the whole thing off because we showed it to a bunch of folks and they were like, well, Jimmy's got Tua and Luke's got AJ McCarron. This isn't the same. I mean, it doesn't matter what receivers Luke has or running backs. I mean, if one of them's got Tua and one of them's got AJ, no offense to AJ, that's a no low contendere. I think that means it's no contest, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. My Latin nor my Spanish is very good, and I'm not sure which one of those it is. But Jimmy, we are going to jump right into this draft now. I will let you decide. We're going to do it a snake draft style, meaning somebody will go first, and then the next person will get two, then the next person two, and we're just going to keep going back and forth like that. So, do you want to go first or second? I'll give you the option.
I'll go first. That's fine.
Okay, I dig it. I like the confidence.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me, but I'll go first. I wasn't prepared to answer that. I thought you were literally going to flip a coin, football style. But no, I'll go.
I could do it that way, but I like to be a gentleman and a scholar, or at least half of those.
Or you want two of the best three.
Two of the best three. Either way. So you go for it. What you got, buddy?
With the first pick of the 2023 Luke Jimmy A-Day draft, I will
is that what we're calling?
In line with tradition this week, I'm going to select Bryce Young number one.
You son of a Okay.
Did you think I was going to pick anyone else? I mean, I thought it'd be a slant. That's what I would expect you to do. Right?
No, I think I would have. Okay, that's okay. But see, what it does is this does help me because see, you're not going to pick another quarterback, so that means sure. I can save later for it. But so you pick Bryce. Why Bryce for you over Tua? I pick Bryce all day long over Tua, but why Bryce for you over Tua?
Heisman number one pick in the draft. I think Bryce Young's the best quarterback in Alabama school history. And I draft, and it's not like I win my fantasy football league all the time, but I draft in the same manner as the NFL does. And I sort of go by value. For instance, I'm probably picking an offensive lineman, next. I mean, and running backs at the end. I mean, I just sort of, I guess it comes from being a draftnik. I sort of draft per position, sort of like the NFL does. And it all starts with quarterback.
That's very fair. I get what you're doing. Now it's my turn to go two in a row. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Derrick Henry, which is opposite of your strategy. I think he's the best weapon that offensively that Alabama has had, maybe ever, but definitely under Nick Saban. Right. So I'm going to go Derrick Henry, also a Heisman winner. I feel like he no matter what quarterback I get, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can block, and he's such a threat that I think it's one of those things where the quarterback I'm going to get now is going to be pretty obvious. It's going to be later. You don't know what to prepare for. So I'm going Derrick Henry. Then my second pick, and this may shock some people, I'm going Andre Smith.
That's so weird. I mean, I was going to take Andre very high, and so yeah, I get it. Derrick Henry and Andre Smith.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's a legitimate question. Is Andre Smith the best offensive lineman of the Saban era? People say he didn't even sign with Nick. No, but if he played for Nick Saban,
he counts
he's a
in
Saban
this.
player. He counts in this, and he's a Saban player as far as I'm concerned, even though he only played for Nick Saban 2 seasons in 07 and 08. But Andre Smith was the left tackle on the 08 team, which sort of announced the beginning of the Saban dynasty. And I think it's a fair argument that he might be the best offensive lineman of the Saban era. I like it. Okay.
You go next. 2 picks.
Okay. One, I'm going with a guy that was a great player at Alabama for sure, but in the NFL has proven to be perhaps even better than he was at Alabama. I mean, I think it just kind of goes to show how great this guy is. But for my next pick, I'm going with offensive lineman Jedrick Wills.
Ooh, okay. I was hoping I would sneak him in on you later, but I guess not.
And my second pick will surprise you a little bit, but it's just sort of one of, if not maybe the only shallow position of the whole Saban era. My second pick, I'm going with tight end O.J. Howard.
Wow. Okay.
And it's just simply because, this is sort of like an all-star team, and tight ends that block might be real effective in games and actually winning, college football games. But in terms of an all-star team or what gets the fans excited, there's no doubt it's catches and receptions. And O.J. Howard, despite a rocky NFL career, I think O.J. Howard, no doubt, is the most impactful tight end of the Saban era. And I think his performance in both national championship games he played in at the end of his career is all the proof you need of that.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, that's interesting. And I'm glad you picked OJ because, frankly, I think you're right. That is the one shallow position because we're not going to do punters and we're not going to do kickers. There's just no sense in it. Because if you have these two offensive teams, you ain't punting and you ain't kicking. But my point is, like OJ was, I'm going through the options for me, and I'm like, if he picks OJ, I'm just not going to play a tight end. I'm just not.
Right. You don't have to. Don't
have to. In the offense that I'm going to run. Okay. So I get 2 picks again. And man, now it's getting tough because the one place where Alabama has been very heavy, I mean, there have been some gaps, but is wide receiver. And I'm going to tell you something. I think I love Devontae Smith as much as anybody that's ever donned crimson. I love Devontae Smith. I may still end up with Devontae Smith if he's there later on. But I'm going to go back-to-back receivers. I'm going to go Julio Jones. And I'm going to go Amari Cooper. I was going to go another direction, but I'm going to go Amari Cooper.
I love it.
And those are 2 dynamic dudes that I think can run any route. That they can take they can run like the jet sweep and take it all the way. They can go up and get it. They can also get you 2 yards if you have to have 2 yards. I just think they're both, winners. And while there have been more productive receivers versus Julio, you could make the argument offensively. Derrick Henry is probably the biggest weapon. Julio may be the most intimidating player we've had offensively. All right. You just cut yourself off. You muted yourself.
I did a you. I think it finally happened. I was on mute and started talking, and I did a you. That's what's going to make this particular program is now, I think, historic and a part of Locked On Bama lore.
It is now part of. Now, before you get started, we do need to go ahead and do our first live read of the day, and that's going to be for Built Bar. I love me some Built Bars. Just sent some Built Bars to my workout warrior son, who's in Ohio now for the summer. He just left Arizona State. He's going to Ohio. He's going to work at Applebee's, it looks like. So good for him. He just wants to make some extra cash, and I don't blame him. If you're looking for a delicious snack but don't want all the sugar and all the calories, then you need to get you a Built Bar. You can get them at Sam's Club. You can get them at Walmart. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them at Built.com. Wherever you want to get them, you can get them. I don't know how they do it. I don't. I do know that they cover them in a 100% real dark chocolate, not milk chocolate or some semi-sweet something or another. It's 100% dark chocolate, and it's delicious. All of them are. You can get churro, you can get peanut butter brownie, you can get cookies and cream, but they got all the regular flavors too. They got whatever you want at built.com. These things are awesome. They will help you lose weight or maintain weight, and they're delicious. They're not like a lot of times you get these other kind of health bars. I call them health bars, and they're like cardboard. These are not that way. Built bars are delicious. I have them all the time. Absolutely love them. My son loves them, and he works out literally all the time. So if a dude like that loves them, then you will love them too. Go check out built.com. Go to Sam's Club. Go to Walmart. Go to Amazon. Wherever you want to get them, you can get you some Built bars. Tomorrow we're going to do our defensive draft. That one's going to be a lot of fun. Saban is associated with defense.
Deep draft. It's a deep draft tomorrow.
Deep draft. That's what's going to be fun. Is like, because I wonder if your team or my team will influence what you draft on defense to try and match up, because we are going to post these two teams and let the listeners and viewers decide the winner and what the score will be. Y'all got to get, and what the stats will be. I want y'all to do some homework on this. We're doing this part. Y'all got to do the tough part. That's how this works. All right, Jimmy, it's your turn to pick two dudes.
Yeah, I already went with Jedrick Wills on the offensive line. I'm going to add to it with a similar player in the sense that he was really, really good at Alabama, all-conference, all-American candidate, great player from day one, started as a freshman, but he's gone to the NFL, and I think to some extent outperformed his draft spot and is now sort of a fixture at tackle in the NFL, and that's Cam Robinson. I will add to the offensive line, cousin of Luke, and he's gonna be on my line with Jedrick Wills, and because Luke shocked me a little bit by passing him, although I get it totally because Amari and Julio, but I'm going to go with Devontae Smith and add a playmaker outside for Bryce to get the ball to. Bryce famously, even though Devontae left when Bryce was a freshman, but Bryce did throw a touchdown pass to Devontae Smith. So we've gone Heisman quarterback to Heisman receiver during the Saban era. A lot of people don't realize that.
I think that Bryce's first ever touchdown pass was to Devontae against Kentucky.
It might have. I think that's exactly right. I believe that's right.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
I dig that. I dig both those picks. I'm disappointed in your picking so well. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the offensive line because I do need to beef this thing up some. I'm going to take a couple of guys here. My thing is going to be about leadership. So I'm going to go Barrett Jones and Landon Dickerson.
I love this.
That. Some people may wonder, I'm passing over some other really good players. I understand that. But Barrett Jones, I can put him anywhere. He's been an All-American at center. He's been an All-American at guard. He's been an All-American at tackle. He's been an All-American at everything. So he can do whatever. And then Landon Dickerson is just so tough. And I want him on my team because if I'm going to end up with the quarterback I think I'm going to end up with, I got to make sure this guy is protected like nobody else. So, I'm going to go Landon Dickerson and Barrett Jones.
Those are awesome choices, no doubt, particularly Landon Dickerson, fan favorite. The fans love him, and he's proven to be a good NFL player. I'm going to stick with guys that have done well up front and in the NFL. I'm going to go with, on my offensive line, Ryan Kelly, who's also a fixture starter in the NFL for the Colts. He's a first-round pick that's performed up to that standard and has maintained consistency year after year. And was an outstanding multi-year starter at Alabama. And alongside him, I believe this could, I don't think this is wrong. Correct me if it is, but I believe the highest drafted offensive lineman during the Saban era, Evan Neal, who was drafted very high, I think fifth or sixth, and by the Giants, and who, of course, was a rookie starter all 17 games at right tackle for the New York Giants, and it looks like he's starting fantastic career. Evan Neal played guard and tackle. We went over the rules before this. If y'all didn't know, we decided on the offensive line it would just be 5 linemen, not much attention to center, guard, or tackle. But it feels right that Luke took a couple of guys that could play center, and Barrett Jones and Landon, and I took Ryan Kelly. So yeah, even though we weren't required to take a center specifically, feels good that we did, because now we know that both of our teams can snap the ball.
Yeah, it feels right, doesn't it? Feels like that's what we should do. Okay, so now your offensive line is pretty well set. You got Wills, Cam Robinson, Evan Neal, and Ryan Kelly. Okay, so I can be a little more strategic here about what I want to do. I do need two more. I got 6 spots left. It looks 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 spots left. 2 of them have to be reserved for also offensive linemen. 1 of them has to be reserved for my quarterback. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Jalen Waddle.
Oh, I love this.
Now, what I've got is I've got maybe the toughest wide receiver and the sort of a do it all, but Julio Jones, just go whatever I need him to do. I got Amari Cooper, who's probably the most technically sound receiver in Alabama history, if it's not Devontae. And then I got Jalen Waddle, who's, if he's not the fastest, the guy I think you'll end up drafting is the fastest, but Waddle is just, I think he's more dependable than who I'm thinking you may get. So, okay, then I'm going to go with another offensive lineman here. And boy, it's getting tough, but I'm going to go with Cyrus Quandro.
Nice choice.
And so I think now I've got my tackle set, I've got my center set, and I've got one of my guards set. I'm going to need one more guard. I'm going to need a quarterback, and then I got one more sort of wherever I want to put them. But right now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you've got 4 more picks. Jimmy, who are these next two? Wait a minute before you do it.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we're going to wrap this draft up and take a look overall at the offensive guys and see what we got. And we're back. Jimmy?
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to go both these picks might, one of them won't be surprising, but the other one will. But to finish up my offensive line, I've already taken 4, and now I'm about to take a 5th to finish up my crappy offensive line. This shows how bad it is that the last guy is Jonah Williams, who was the 11th pick in the draft. Immediate freshman starter. I'll never forget that Jonah Williams won a starting spot on the Alabama's offensive line in basically the 3rd practice of his college career and never gave up a starting spot, then was the 11th pick in the draft by the Bengals and has been, even though he's on the trading block right now, a consistent starter in the NFL for the Bengals, has been a good NFL player. Outside, this might surprise you. I think I need a receiver to go with Devontae. And this might surprise you because I've taken a lot of guys with NFL pedigree, and this guy doesn't really have it yet, but I'm super confident in what kind of career he's going to have. And that's to pair with Devontae Smith. I'm going Jameson Williams, J-Mo.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's why it came down to me like either Jalen or Jameson, and I was thinking that Jalen's hands are better. And now they're both really good return men, but I think Jalen's better punt returner. And I think
right. Jalen's more proven in the NFL. I mean, Jameson hasn't really done anything in the NFL yet other than be drafted highly.
Want to bet?
Good one. You're up.
I am up. I've got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 2 more picks. All right. One of them's got to be Tua Tagovailoa. Look, I need a quarterback. I think Tua is the second best quarterback in Alabama history. I think the first best quarterback. I think the best player in Alabama history. Again, I'm willing to come off this perch. I think you have the best player in Alabama history in Bryce Young on your team. And I understand some people think this is recency bias. I understand. But what I think is also very fair is if you were to say, what if Bryce Young had Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs, and Jerry Jeudy? Then what? Well, he would have been ridiculous. Now, Tua was ridiculous too, but Tua also at any given moment, his hip could explode like it had a M80 inside of it. There were things that Tua did that probably weren't as good as Bryce to me. And I love Tua Tagovailoa, do not get me wrong. And he's my quarterback now. So, I love him even that much more. Okay, so I'm left with another quandary. and I'm considering doing something off the beaten path, but I think too many people would call me out for it. So here's what I'm going to do. I have Derrick Henry, who is a very fast runner. I've given some serious consideration, Jimmy, in my last spot to Kenyon Drake. I'm not going to do it. Let me tell you why. Because you put Henry and Drake back there. You put Drake in the backfield, I can split him out. Yeah, I could also split out Najee Harris. I could also split out Trent Richardson. Richardson's a good catcher, as well as Mark Ingram. But Drake as a pass catcher is different. And but there are too many other things that Drake didn't do enough of, so I can't put him on this team. And because I can't put him on this team, and we're also assuming, by the way, nobody gets hurt in this game, so we don't have to have any backups. I'm going to do something even a little more differently, and I'm going to go with Jerry Jeudy. I'm going to split 4 wide.
Going 4 wide. That's the offense. Well, with 2 of that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
With 2 of that makes a ton of sense.
So you have one more pick, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, you got 2 more picks.
Yes, I believe, and I can go in any number of directions with my skill positions like you did. I believe so. And since you're going 4 wide, no tight ends, and you took 1 back, and it was Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a running back, and since you took Derrick Henry, I will take. And this is close call because there's so many good. I'm not going to take him, but Trent Richardson gets some short shrift because he didn't have a good pro. Yeah, he didn't have a good pro career at all, and it tainted how people think of Trent. But at Alabama, Trent Richardson was just a dominant back. He finished 3rd in the Heisman voting. But speaking of Heisman and running back,
he had the best run. He had the best run of a running back in the Nick Saban era for sure against Ole Miss. That's the best run of any running back, and maybe it's one of the best runs in Alabama history.
Yeah, it is. It is, and really, this should be about what they did at Alabama, not the NFL. But I think people's view of players is aided when they have a big NFL career too. So I'm gonna go with another Heisman winner at Alabama that's also had a shockingly solid NFL career in Mark Ingram, who ranks really high in the NFL's all-time rushing list. He's the all-time leading rusher in New Orleans Saints history, scored more touchdowns than any running back in Saints history, and won a Heisman at Alabama. So Ingram's going to be my back. And at wide, I'm going to add a wide receiver. So I'm going to go with 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 receivers. You hadn't taken Jerry Jeudy, correct?
I just took him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking. I was deciding in my head between Jeudy and Ridley, and I knew you would, and I knew you were going to take one or the other. So throw me in for Calvin Ridley at the end. Another player great at Alabama, and it's been really good in the NFL. I think he's been forgotten a little bit because of his suspension and the time off he took from the Falcons. But I really like Calvin to have a big bounce back year this year for the Jags. So Ridley will finish up my All-Saban offensive team to battle Luke's.
Yeah, I like Ridley this year too. Catching passes from Trevor Lawrence. I think that's going to be awesome for him. I think he's going to have a really nice year. Looking at these 2 teams is funny. I mean, the first thing that jumps out to me is Bryce Young has the same problem as before, where his weapons aren't as good as what Tua's has over on my side. But I think your offensive line may be a little better. I like my offensive line in terms of being technically sound. But I think your offensive line is a little bit better. I do definitely like my wide receivers and running back better. I like your quarterback better. So yeah, this will be a close battle. Then we'll just see. We're going to do defenses tomorrow. I will go first tomorrow. I'll pick the 1, then you pick 2. I already know who I'm picking first tomorrow, and you probably don't know. I think it's going to be a surprise. I can't wait to spring it on the world.
You're going to take that inside linebacker from Ohio State like Kevin Costner did in draft day.
No, I'm taking Chris Capps. I'm moving him to the defense, baby. He didn't even play.
Hey, just let's thank Nick Saban for this era where we can do a 22-person. We took 22 offensive guys, all of them stars. I mean, for instance, over on Locked On Wake Forest, I don't know what they're doing.
They'd be like, we can't field a team like this throughout our history if we include multiple sports.
They're like, can I take Sam Hartman to play tight end too?
Tim Duncan, I'm going to have him at wide receiver. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's podcast, man. Thank you for appreciate you guys subscribing and doing all that. With the college channels had a big month in April, and it's all because guys like you out there listening, and we love it so much, and appreciate you guys a ton. And really, y'all, I'm going to post these two lists, so don't make any predictions till you see the defense, because Jimmy's defense may be able to match up better, or my defense maybe be able to match up better. So we're going to do the defenses tomorrow, and then we will have the game and let you guys decide it. So until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.